Welcome to Hey Podcasters, where we bring live discussion with our podcasters' guests, find answers, and gain new answers to some of the most challenging questions about podcasting. We believe it's the best way to get tips and learn.
Hello, everybody. Margo Lovett here. I tell you, I can't say enough about these two folks, these two dynamic podcasters. When I spoke with them earlier, I knew we'd have to go more than 15 minutes. So I'm telling you already, most of the takes are 15 minutes, but these two folks, oh no, we have to have 30 minutes on this one. So get your favorite drink, buckle up. We're going to talk about Girls Ask Guys Show. So I want to introduce you to Ashley Sanders and John Newport. So there's a lot of territory to cover with these two folks. So I just want to jump right on in, give you some backstory on them. Ashley, tell us who is Ashley Sanders. Then we're going to jump on over to John Newport. Then we're going to blend you two together and talk about what's happening right now.
Ashley Sanders is a character. I guess that's the best word to describe me as. Started in radio, moved over to social media marketing. Then we started podcasting, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff, like I've worked on TV shows and all that, but honestly, it's the best thing I've ever done. It's been so fun, so weird, but so much fun.
No, I just want to ask you, so weird. And you've worked in many different means of broadcasting. What's so different about the podcasting? Can you kind of pinpoint that a little bit?
Usually I have like a PA or assistant or a board operator. Here it's just me, and I have to make myself, they do the edit.
Oh, it kind of froze.
Now it's just me. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you kind of froze there. You said you had the PA, you had the board operator.
Yeah.
You had the production right there.
Yeah, they made me sound like I went to Harvard. People would never suspect I was a tattooed human being with dreadlocks. Now everybody, I can't hide it. So it's like, I gotta be myself.
How hard was it to move from the terrestrial radio to that everything is just like this over to podcasting? How was that a hard transition for you?
No, because I've never been afraid to talk. The hardest part of the transition has just been, it's me. You know what I mean? Like, I've always had someone to clean it up for me. And John does a fantastic job with editing, by the way. But I've always had someone to kind of say, hey, Ashley, you probably shouldn't say this. This is a bit racy. And now I'm just being myself and being vulgar, and it's fantastic, but it's weird because my mom listens.
But of course, I wanted to hone in on that because so many people are moving from terrestrial radio and they're jumping into podcasting. So just wanted people to know that, yeah, you can do it, and people are doing it and having a whole lot of fun.
Very much so.
Okay. John Newport, who the heck are you, sir?
Me. I mean, that's pretty much, there's no real box that I can actually put myself into. I'm just who I am. What I say is it. There's people question me on my past, and I'm like, well, if you want to know, here's the evidence. So I don't try and hide anything. I don't try to embellish anything. There are some things that I'm quiet about. There's some things that I want to climb on top of the roof, or go up to the mountains, and I'm going to shout it from the top. So yeah, there's no real way of describing myself.
Well, I tell you what, let's take it back to our first conversation. It was just so smooth and easy. And it was like, you are like a diamond, you multifaceted and just brilliant on whichever way you turn. And it's all comes together for good. So take us back. You served in the military, and thank you for your service.
Well, I have a multitude of different jobs, as Ashley can tell you. I mean, I've done so many different things. I've been a fashion photographer. I served in the military. I've driven trucks over the road. I served law enforcement. I've done private security, executive security. And then I got into this thing a while back called being a pickup artist, how to talk to and pull women towards me. And then I found out that's manipulative. So I started getting into psychology and sociology, sexology, nameology, I probably studied it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I
And
love it.
yeah, then from there, I didn't want to manipulate anybody. And that was my Achilles heel. I was a fantastic manipulator.
Mm.
So that's really where the crux of the podcast started. I was always getting asked questions from both guys and girls. How do I do this? How do you do that? How do you make this happen? And I was I saw this little thing one time, and this guy was talking about building a podcast. He talked about it for over a year and a half. Never did anything. I was interested in it. I knew how to do some music. I've done some of my own music production. And then I was like, I've got the equipment. Let's see how this thing goes.
Yeah.
So we concentrated at first on just answering questions, and we started getting into topics.
Mhm. I love it. How did you two get together? Because I understand you're in one state, Ashley's in another state. How did you all come together so wonderfully? And you all are wonderful together. The show pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking for a podcasting gig because I want to get back into radio, and I literally hit the Google search. I see this, I see a bunch of them, but for some reason, John stood out to me. I applied. We had we've had, I think before we started working together, we had one conversation.
Yep.
And it was just like a probably about 45 minutes long. And it was like, I know he got a bunch of people he had to interview, but I am a character. So
Yeah.
luckily for me, I stuck out a little bit, but then we just jumped right in.
Yeah, I think we did what? That first week we did something like
10,
10 or 11. I mean, we were
Knocking
recording
'em
every
out.
day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you all are on the same page and the chemistry and everything's just ready, set, go. It's synchronized and you just go for it.
Yeah.
Tell us, John, tell us about the show. Girls Ask Guys show, because I sure don't want anybody to think that because your background and Ashley, you know how to put things together on the terrestrial. I mean, you guys bring all of the tools, but it's not just a dating relationship type
No.
of a podcast. I want everybody to understand that. So take us into the underbelly of this podcast.
Oh, geez. Well, we started off, we were really just answering questions. We wanted to help people move forward in their relationships. But then the requests started coming in, and we started getting guests on the show because we were our first guest that we ever had. We were asking her about how she met her husband, how they make the relationship work. And then we had an international model on the show. How does it work for her? How does her husband deal with that? So we wanted to give people a model that they can follow, because there isn't a model.
No.
Guys don't know how to be men nowadays. They're confused. Women are confused about how they're supposed to act. I mean, are they supposed to step up and ask guy first, or do they have to still sit back and wait? So we're trying to give a model to people that they can figure out what works for them. And I'm big on manipulation. I don't want anybody to take what we teach and go out there and manipulate somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That leads to extremely bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Own personal experience there. But we get into investigations. We go, here's this person, here's what they believe in, this is how they are manipulating people. Watch out for it.
Wow. I mean, you tag it, you call it what it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. Investigations.
Yeah. We do. What is it? We did investigate. Well, not counting our last episode that we did, where we were investigating child marriage, not only around the world, but here in the United States. The investigation we did before that was a guy, he literally had mapped out the states and figured out where he could go to marry an underage person. And by the time she is 15, she's a grandmother.
Oh my goodness.
And he has videos everywhere. This guy he's Looney Tunes. I'm going to call it like it is. This guy is nuts, but he has followers.
And I mean, he's not dead and done. He's
No.
very much alive.
He's very much alive. We've investigated the men go their own way, or the MGTOW set area.
Mhm.
We had so much fun because we went out to their
We did.
website and we called everything.
We tore it to shreds, and that's what we do a lot.
Yes.
Like we find people who are garbage, and we make sure that the world knows they're garbage, because life's hard enough. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you have kids. And so we go into these perverts, these predators, these inside little cults where they manipulate women, and not just women sometimes, because we rip the woman apart too. We don't discriminate.
Yeah.
And the reason is, like I said, life's hard enough. You have enough to worry about with your children being on the internet. Every school gives them a computer. The least we can do with our platform is warn you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, the investigative work, that's journalism. I mean,
Yeah.
at its
Yeah.
best. Have you all ever been threatened? Has anyone said, I'm going to beat you up?
No, we almost got a cease and desist though. That's how we knew we were
Yes.
doing something right. We really did. We knew.
Yeah,
I
actually,
knew
we got to
were
go
doing-
back to that guy. We have
Yeah,
to
he's
finish
not-
that episode.
He's not a fan of ours, by the way.
Oh,
And
well.
we didn't know he was going to listen, but I guess when you have nothing else to do with your life but search your name on the internet, you're going to find it and, send cease and desist to everybody. And we're like, dude, bring it on. Like,
Yeah.
you're a pervert.
Yeah.
What do you want
Yeah, we got that. And I actually offered, I talked to him. I still have the emails. I offered, come on our show, tell your side of the story.
Mhm.
You can read my book. Your book's not even published yet.
Right. You're literally taking pre-sales for a book that never came out, by the way. And so,
It's still not out there.
Oh my
But-
goodness. What you all are working on now, the child marriage, how do you all choose your subject matters? I mean, you just look at the worst of the worst folks and just kind of say, yeah, we need to go ahead and make sure people are made aware of those folks.
Actually, I received a question, and it was, well, how has dating changed from just in the last 20 years? So I was like, why do the last 20 years? Let's really look at it. Let's go all the way back.
Mhm.
Because in the pickup artist world, the very first book written for men on how to find women was written in like 6 CE. I mean, that's how far back it goes. As far as women's books, there's 2, and we ripped apart one of those.
it's terrible. It's a terrible book.
But I was going through and I was investigating and researching how dating has evolved from ancient Rome all the way through today.
Mhm.
And I ran across this one little paragraph or sentence, and I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't jive with what I know. And it was on marrying young.
Mhm.
So I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. So I started investigating, and then I ran across these numbers. And I was like, wait a minute, 175 million children were married just since 2000 to today.
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, this can't be true. So we started investigating. I started going in, and I was like, Ashley,
7 emails
forget
later.
that.
Yeah, like literally he sent me a bunch of emails. He's like, we got to talk about this. And I'm more, I'm pretty emotional when it comes to harming children. And so if you listen to those episodes, they're very expressive because
Mhm.
we're just so disappointed by not just the concept of, marrying a child, but the fact that there are laws and loopholes around it. So we had to make sure that people understood that depending on what state you live in, your child might be susceptible to this. Depending on what country you live in, your child might be able to, some rich guy might be able to come buy your child and take them back to a certain state, and they can marry them and cut all contact with you. And it's so important that, and nobody knows about this. If you're not a weird pervert, how would you?
No.
But if you have a child, you should know, because weirdos lurk around every corner, every corner.
This is important stuff. That's why I knew this conversation was going to be great. I mean, there's, reality TV can tell us about relationships and yada, yada, yada. But to really talk about the meat and potatoes, the dark side of life that we don't, it's really kind of frightening,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, what was the woman who went to, I think it was Aruba, and she was
Natalie Holloway.
Yes. I've always been haunted by what could have happened to that poor woman and how her mother dug her heels in and took that as far as she could. And then it seemed like something spooked her, and that was the end of it. And I think that that's just one story, one thing
Right.
that has happened to people, the human trafficking and all of that. And it's just very alarming. It really, really
Yes.
is. So
That's one thing about our show when we're giving our advice or our strategies, because we don't run systems. A system gets you a predictable outcome. You
Mhm.
you do this, this is what you get. We don't want systems or methods. We have a strategy.
Mhm.
Strategies change. You can adjust it for the individual. But everything that we talk about, we back it up. We give you the research. Research it for yourself. This is where we got our information. Look at it for yourself. See if it fits your situation.
Mhm.
And the episode that we just finished recording is on attachment theory,
Ooh.
which can affect certain people to a certain degree, as far as show me how you were loved, we'll show you how you will love. And that's where attachment theory comes in. We back that up. I pulled an article from Illinois State University.
Mhm.
It was a research paper.
It's a dissertation.
There you go. Yes. I actually looked at her. She's like, no.
No, I'm not reading that. Like I John's the brains of this operation. I'm just a character. But yeah, we did attachment theory, and we really did. We went into depth, and we made sure people understand that just because there's 5 different types of attachments, that doesn't mean that you're one type of attachment. You can have an attachment. You can be in a secure attachment with your family and be an insecure attachment with your partner, and that you have to go for yourself and read this. So we make sure that we post the show notes and everything so that everyone knows that it's okay to be more than one. And some of your relationships are going to be unhealthy, but some of them might be very secure, and it's a blending, and nothing works for one person.
Gosh, I love it how you all bring us in intellectually. It's not just you all behind the mic and this is our opinion. And we're just, because we are podcasters, we're giving you our opinion. No, you are, this is fact-based research. This is what it is.
Yeah, we don't do bubblegum theory.
Mhm.
I got that from the pickup artist community, where if you run out of something to say, you don't know what to say. Well, here's a script. You memorize the script. Well, what happens when you run out of the script? What happens when you run out of the games? Now you're left to your own devices. And now this person's wondering, who are you? You're not the same person. And so we don't sit there and here's a script. Here's how you do it. No, here's what works for me. Here's what works for Ashley. Here's what this other person says works for them.
Mhm.
Now take that and use that as a model to develop your own style.
Right.
Be authentic.
Mhm.
And
yeah, we're here to guide you. We're not here to put you in a relationship. We're not here to say, here is Mr. Right, or here is Mrs. Wrong, or here's that. We're here to guide you. We're here to help. We can't tell you what to do. All we can do is, if let's say we had someone write in and they have a question, we can say, well, here's what I would, like John said, here's what I would do. Here's what John would do. Here's what you probably should do. If exactly what you're saying is complete honesty, here's what you probably should do. But we can't, call us or write us in for more, because unless we know the full story, we can't give you any answers. And we know from experience that most of the time when someone writes in, they're not telling everything.
Yeah.
They're leaving a couple things out. And usually that's the most important
and
part.
even then, it's going to be one side of the story. We don't know the other person. I mean, it takes 2 people to put a relationship together.
Right. Your wife didn't just haul off and leave you. She didn't just get up and say, I'm done. Like, I'm sure you did something, or I'm sure something, there's a precipice to that. But we get those, my wife just left me. What do? I don't know. Why'd your wife leave? I'm not sure either. Did you ask her? No. Well, let's figure that out first. Let's maybe talk to your wife.
Yeah.
I help a little bit.
And we try and look at everything from every conceivable angle.
Every angle.
Yeah. We don't just, oh, well, this is what you should do. Well, this is what you should do. But if this happens, and okay, well, here's another scenario. And you'll hear us sometimes we go way off topic before we actually loop back around to bring it back in.
Wow. You all take on one-on-one clients also, correct? Okay. I want to make sure everybody knows that this work has evolved. I don't ask podcasters about their numbers or anything like that, but you all are growing, correct?
Exponentially.
Yeah. And we have, And as far as now we do different types of one-on-one clients. We are on our new website that we're building. We're greatly expanding our course. And now that's an online course, meaning actually we'll check in, but it's pretty much hands off. But we do walk you through. I mean, everything from knowing yourself to learning how to communicate. We go into fashion. I think that one was just fashion. Fashion by itself, there's 300 references for fashion.
John's hilarious when it comes. He loves fashion. It's like, as you can see, we're two totally different people. I mean, I'm like 30 minutes. He's like, yeah, putting my uniform on. I'm like, all right, let me smell this shirt, make sure it smells good. But I mean, it's so great. The dynamic's so great because when it came to like putting the course together, it was like, John, don't forget about this. John, we need to put in this too. This is important for the people who are like lazy, and the people who like their dog and the vegan shirt. So it was like we built that course, and I mean, it's a monster. And I'm so excited.
It is huge.
Is it ready now? Can people go over?
It's not ready yet. When we say that this is in depth, it is in depth because we tackle questions no other coach is going to tackle, such as, you're sitting down with somebody and you're talking to them, your relationship starts to develop, and then about a week later, they tell you that they were sexually assaulted when they were 18, 19 years old. How do you handle that? How is that going to affect you? Are you going to allow it to affect the relationship? Or are you still interested in the person that you first saw? I mean,
and if you aren't, how do you deal with talking to them about it? And then, how do you move forward from it? It's and it all comes from our personal experiences. Everything, we've been through a gamut of relationships between the two of us, and we examine those and we say, where did we screw up? And then we realize, what could we have done better? And so then we're like, this is a section where I need to grow myself. And this is a section where I need to put boundaries because, that's one of the biggest things, boundaries.
Yeah. And that's for our smallest course. Our next up level course is you go through the course, but then we fly you out for a weekend. This is an all expense paid trip
you get to, hang
to a city. Yeah. So we fly you out. Doesn't matter where you live in the world. We fly you out. We put you up in a hotel. We pay for the hotel room, breakfast, lunch. Yeah. We pay for breakfast. We pay for lunch. We pay for dinner. We have, what is it? We have like dance classes. So you're going to learn how to dance. And then we have limo rides to some of the best nightclubs out there, full bottle service. Wow. And this is an entire weekend. And we get to work with you one-on-one on the points that you're having problems with. No additional charge.
Oh, wow.
Our top level course, we come out and we live with you for a full week, going through every single point. As far as we know, there's not a coaching company out there that does this, not at our price point.
I've never heard of anybody taking on coaching like that, so hands-on. That is incredible.
It's important because there are small, little, tiny nuances. I've worked with clients, they go up and they're trying to talk to somebody and, hey, how are you? That's not going to get anybody's attention. But if you walk up, how you speak, how you carry yourself, down, and to a degree, the clothes that you wear speak about who you are. You look at a doctor, you can look at him and go, yeah, that's probably a doctor. Or somebody who works at a warehouse or drives a big rig. Okay, they're more working class. They're just by how they walk, how the clothes that they wear. Mm-hmm. Every little thing plays a role to some degree. Now, it may be 1%, it could be 50%. It all depends.
Yeah, and remember, we're dealing with people's minds, and not just their minds, their hearts and their souls. So if we're not when you deal with things like that, you have to be delicate. And so the reason we're so hands-on is because, I mean, life is long, even at 20, some people have seen things that are unimaginable. Yeah. And so if we're just treating them like every other person, we're showing them that they don't matter. And most of the people who are attracted to us when it comes to client base, they feel like they don't matter. Why would we treat you the same exact way that you've been treated and expect you to find any results from us? And I think that's one of the biggest problems I see in the relationship dating is that coaches treat you like
you're a number.
Really. Like, honestly, they treat you like you're a hoe, you know? And like I paid you, just, you know, money's on the counter, goodbye. When realistically, these are people and people hurt. And if we hurt even one person, everything we've done is null and void.
Yes. Yeah, we can't.
That's not our personal lives, by the way. We're not perfect.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but we can't sit there and go, here's a book.
Right.
Go read it. Now follow the instructions in the book. Okay. Well, we just trained. That just means we trained 178 million potential people to do the exact same thing. That's the problem with the pickup artist community. It has become so commonplace. The language that we used back then, the games that we used back then, they are so overused. Women, men alike recognize it right off the bat. But if you're authentic, you can do your own thing.
Yes.
You like those chips? Why do you like those chips?
Grocery store John, my favorite person.
Wow. No cookie cutter approaches on anything from your podcast content to your one-on-one consulting. Nothing is cookie cutter.
No, everything has to be individualized. Now, there are some things that do apply to everybody, but even then, when we're working with somebody, we can look at them and get to know them and like, that's where your hang up is. That's what we need to work on. It's not what you're saying, it's the tone or the fluctuations in your voice. That's what's setting people off.
How can I tell you what's best for you if I don't know you?
That's right.
You know, like, I don't know you. I get, you know, and I think we said that yesterday about attachment theory was we don't know you personally if you're listening to this. So everything we're reading off is, you know, sort of scientific, but you need to go back and study for you. And then if you have more questions, write into us so we can know you. I can't tell you what's best for you, Margo. I can't look at you and say, this is your problem. But if you say, hey guys, I need some help, here's what I'm struggling with. And then if we feel like it's not the truth, we'll be like, well, what's the truth? And then once we get down to the nitty gritty and make people feel safe, then you can start to make the change.
And sometimes we don't even charge. I was working with the guy, matter of fact, the day that you and I talked, Margo, a few hours later, I got an email in. Do I have feelings for this girl? I read it and I was like, okay, here's how a relationship starts. First, you have the attention. Somebody's going to grab your attention. You're going to look. Okay, what about them grabbed your attention? Then there's the attraction. Sometimes it's immediate. You're like, oh yeah, I like her. Or it could be gradual. It could take you a little bit of time. Then you have where you're curious. You're just curious about them. You want to get to know them. After that, then you have infatuation.
My favorite
That's
part.
where that's that honeymoon phase. You can't get enough of the person. And then once all of your questions are answered and you feel totally comfortable with them and you're not trying to hide anything, they know enough of your secrets that they can write an autobiography about you. That's when you enter into commitment. When I was working with them, I was like, you're in curiosity. You're not to infatuation yet, but you're getting close. But you still have questions you need answered. And he was like, you're right. I got it. This is where I'm at. I'm not ready for that yet, but I was thinking I might be. And I was like, you still have questions you need answered.
See, this is what people need, young and old. We don't know the rules of dating. When I was 16 years old and dating, I'm 67 now. It's completely different.
Yes.
You know, everything has changed. COVID has changed the world. The way we go about everything is completely different. So I think that this is wonderful, amazing, necessary work that you are doing as far as the podcast and working one-on-one. And I want to remind everybody, I'm here with John Newport, Ashley Saunders. Is it Saunders or Sanders? Sanders. And I know Girls Ask Guys show. You can find them over on all of the major platforms. we could go on and on. I mean, the stories that you guys have to tell, to share. People just have to go over and binge listen on the platform there. But I'm asking for parting words. What do you all want to leave with the people that are sampling what podcasting is all about, what your show is all about? What do you want to leave with them?
I'll let you take it first, Ashley.
If you're getting into podcasting, I would leave you with go with the flow. And it's okay if things mess up. Me and John had a 4-month hiatus after a hurricane. And you know what? We still had people rocking with us the whole way. People love you. If people love you, and they're not going to leave you. And then if you are listening to our show, and I would say listen, but also research. We are talking to a broad audience. We aren't talking to you. So if you need anything more, write us in. But if you have any questions, obviously write us in. But if you think that we're talking directly to you, go research the topic we're talking about to make sure that the advice we're giving is geared towards you. So you don't say, well, John and Ashley said this, so I'm gonna do that. Our word is not law. We are not gods, regardless of what we think.
Yes.
Don't be lazy. Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
For myself, this is more of a life thing. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? I mean, one of my favorite things is he who dies with the most money doesn't matter. He who dies and has the most friends at their funeral, that's how many lives you touched. I want to touch as many possible lives in a positive way as I possibly can.
And relationships, boy, when you all help people with those relationships, that's helping people in a very positive way. Plus, you guys are shaping humanity. You're shaping humanity. Wow. So we can find you over on Apple, iHeart, all of the major platforms. You spoke of a new website. Should we give those folks the information? Because since this celebration is all of September, or where can people find you for the consultations and that type of thing?
That's going to be at iknowcupid.com. That's we grew so fast that we actually had to set up a separate service company so that our podcast remains a podcast.
That every podcaster should have such a problem. But then once again, that shows you where we are as a people. You all are answering the needs of people,
Yes.
So I look for you all to just blow the roof off of this in a little bit. And if we have a conversation like this again next year, you guys are going to be in a totally different realm.
Yeah,
that's what I expect.
From my boat. I'll be doing it from my boat, so it'll be fine.
Ashley, I ain't mad at you because you guys also, it's lifestyle. And how do you live out your lifestyle? Wow. This has been so good. I knew it was going to be good. As my mama said, I know it was going to be good. All right. John Newport, Ashley Sanders with the Girl Ask Guys podcast. You guys do all of us podcasters really, really good. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Hey Podcasters. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us in your favorite podcast app or connect with us on heypodcasters.com so that you don't miss our next episode. We wish you happy podcasting and see you in the next episode.